before I start, listen closely. This is one of those stories that sounds like a legend whispered in the dark corners of spaceports. Pilots swear it's exaggerated, until someone who was actually there quietly says, "No, it was worse, and it was better." If you enjoy human stories that shake entire empires, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is the day a single human rewrote the emotional laws of a galactic superpower. In an age when the starways were mapped like veins across a living body, the Aurelian hegemony ruled with the calm certainty of a species that believed it had solved existence. Their capital world, Lixera, floated beneath curtains of luminous atmosphere. Its cities grew from mineral towers that rang softly in the wind like chimes tuned by mathematicians. The Aurelians themselves were breathtaking and unsettling. Tall beings wrapped in reflective skin that shimmered with controlled color. Every hue regulated by biodiscipline, every movement deliberate, as if emotion itself had been edited out of their bloodline. They were governed by Empress Heir, a ruler so ancient that entire civilizations had risen and collapsed during her reign. She was celebrated not for kindness, but for perfect equilibrium. The Aurelians believed emotion was a flaw, a corrosion that weakened judgment, and they wore restraint like armor. I was present in her court as a junior archivist, tasked with recording diplomatic encounters, and I thought I understood power until the humans arrived. They came from a small blue planet on the fringe of relevance, a species barely tolerated in elite circles, known mostly for their noise, volatility, and inconvenient habit of surviving things that should have killed them. When their envoy stepped into the Hall of Resonance, the nobles didn't bother hiding their amusement. The human representative, a man named Adrien Cole, looked painfully ordinary in his dark uniform. No ceremonial plating, no luminous crest, just a tired face and steady eyes. Whispers around me were sharp and dismissive. Fragile bones, chaotic minds, short lives, a species addicted to conflict. Empress Heir regarded him from her suspended throne and asked, in a voice smooth as glass, what a race so young could possibly offer an empire that had mastered logic. Adrien didn't bow as deeply as protocol demanded. He simply met her gaze and said they offered cooperation, curiosity, and the stubborn refusal to quit on each other. Equals, he said. The word echoed like a joke. The court laughed. To entertain themselves, the Aurelians invited the humans to participate in the trial convergence, a ceremonial gauntlet meant to expose the essence of a species. The arena bloomed beneath the twin suns, filling with shifting geometries, gravity wells, and puzzles designed to break lesser minds. The expectation was humiliation. At first, the humans stumbled. Adrien solved problems inelegantly, forcing solutions with persistence rather than grace. The gallery sneered, the Aurelians prized efficiency. The human method looked like brute insistence. Then the sky tore open. A rare and violent solar shears storm slammed into the city shields before they could fully cycle. The air screamed. Towers hummed out of tune. The arena destabilized. Panic rippled through a population that had engineered fear out of their culture but never out of their instincts. In the chaos, the Empress's child, young Heir Saras, was stranded on a fractured platform suspended above a chasm of collapsing light. Guards froze, running projections, calculating probabilities, arguing over optimal rescue vectors while the platform disintegrated in increments. Protocol demanded minimal loss. Logic demanded patience. Time was running out. I saw the Empress remain perfectly still, but her colors flickered, an imperceptible glitch in perfection. And then the human moved. Adrien didn't ask permission. He tore off his ceremonial sash, wrapped it around a broken railing, and leapt into the storm. The wind hit him like a wall, slamming him against the platform, but he crawled forward anyway. Fingers bleeding, teeth clenched in a grin half mad, half determined. The Aurelians shouted warnings about structural collapse, statistical certainty of death, but he ignored them with the casual arrogance of a species that has always negotiated with disaster. He reached the child just as the platform split. Saras was shaking, eyes bright with a fear her culture had never prepared her to express. Adrien didn't lecture, didn't calculate. He pulled her against his chest and told her softly that he had her. That was it. No philosophy, no empire, just a promise. And she believed him. When he carried her back through the chaos, shielding her body with his own, something impossible happened in that silent crowd. The Aurelians, masters of composure, felt the raw shock of witnessing an action with no logical profit. He risked everything for someone who wasn't his. No contract, no leverage, just instinctive compassion. When he placed Saras in the Empress's arms, The child clung to him first, wrapping her arms around his neck in a tight human embrace. The court gasped. Physical affection was considered primitive, a surrender of control. Yet the glow of the child's skin brightened, stabilized, fear dissolving into trust. Empress Cyrene stared at the human as if seeing a new element added to the universe. She said he had reminded them of a strength they had amputated in pursuit of perfection. Adrien, bruised and shivering, shrugged and told her that protecting each other was the only reason any species made it to the stars in the first place. The storm passed. The city stabilized, but the emotional aftershock rippled for cycles. The negotiations that followed were no longer a performance of superiority. They became a conversation. I recorded how Aurelian children began mimicking the embrace they had witnessed. Awkward at first, then eager, discovering a language their ancestors had buried. The empire didn't collapse. It evolved. I realized, as I sealed the record, that humanity's true terror wasn't their weapons or endurance. It was their refusal to calculate compassion. They acted first and justified it later. Somehow, that irrational spark rewrote the balance of power. If you ever wonder why ancient empires watch humans with a mix of admiration and unease, remember this. The strongest force in the galaxy might not be logic or technology, but a species reckless enough to care without permission. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.